Right, so there's no escaping this business that happened with Jonathan Gullis, the Tory MP, yesterday. If you haven't heard of him, I envy you, frankly. I try and ignore him most of the time. He is an attention-seeking, boorish bully, frankly. But as awful as most Tory MPs are in all of their own ways, this guy's in a whole class of his own because he takes migrant bashing to a whole new level of degeneracy. And yesterday, at Prime Minister's Questions, he sank to an all-new depraved low. Labour MP Tulip Siddiq was asking a question regarding the disappearance of 200 unaccompanied migrant children. No parents from hotels that they were being housed in. Yes, kids are going missing on the Tories' watch. Kids in their care, their responsibility, and they are going missing by the hundreds. It is a massive, untold scandal happening right now, and it's a scandal because if these were the kids of any of these MPs and they were going missing, it would be headline news. But it isn't, because they're migrants. So they don't matter to either our free and fearless press or Tory MPs, and Gullis showed just how little he gave a damn for these kids by heckling Tulip Siddiq in the middle of her question about where these kids are and what the Tories are doing about these disappearances by shouting, well, they shouldn't have come here illegally. Now, I've worked really hard to avoid swearing in my content as much as possible these days, but bigotry and hate speech in regarding to disappearing children of all people makes Jonathan Gullis little more than a knuckle-dragging, race-baiting thug, an inhumane piece of shit that makes the likes of Lee Anderson or Andrew Bridgen seem classy by comparison and almost makes Boris Johnson seem virtuous. The cockroaches of his constituency office moved out in protest the day he moved in. When people talk about a race to the bottom in Tory Britain, who knew Jonathan Gullis saw that as a challenge he wanted to win? What the hell is functionally wrong with this man? This is a guy who used to be a teacher, you wouldn't believe. He used to have children in his care. And as much as I want to see this man's parliamentary career cut as short as possible, the thought of him ever returning to a classroom is just as awful as him retaining his Stoke-on-Trent North seat. Yet he could easily do so because he signed on as a supply teacher with an agency to make up for Tory-caused staff shortages. I'd go ape if I found out that man was teaching my child. Is this what he thinks wins him the Stoke vote, incidentally? What do Stokies think that says about them? Are they pleased to have this guy representing them anymore? He jeers at kids coming here illegally, but that's because no legal structure for them to come here legally exists. He dismisses their disappearances, which under international law, which enshrines the right to asylum, that they have a right to be cared for properly whilst their applications are processed and go through. They've already risked their lives getting here however they could. So to be greeted by a sweaty, red-faced gammon like Gullis, dismissing them as criminals, irrelevant the moment they make a claim for asylum, is the last thing they need. By heckling questions over this, you simply expose your own party, your own government, to not giving a damn that it is failing in its duty towards asylum seekers, preferring to use them to score points instead. It is not for anyone, be that us, the Tories, or anyone, to judge them for why they have come here until their applications have been processed. It's the language of the BNP he's coming out with. It's the language of Britain First. And it's not even the first time such comparisons have been made between hard-right organisations like those and the no-mark nasty that is Jonathan Gullis. Last year, a hotel in his constituency was named by Britain First as one such hotel housing asylum seekers. They did what they always do. Film it, name and shame it, act like the bunch of racist layabout losers that they are, offering all the political astuteness of a dog with the squits. It would seem Jonathan Gullis saw this as a challenge too, as not 3 weeks later, he did exactly the same thing, filmed himself outside the same hotel, peddling much the similar anti-migrant rhetoric, except he then paid Facebook to promote his video so it got greater reach. I cannot imagine how embarrassed you have to be if you live in Stoke and you have this guy as your MP, and if you voted for this creature because he isn't fit to be put in a position of responsibility, of power, of lawmaking. He exemplifies how far political discourse in this country, attitudes in this country have fallen since the Tories came back into power. What part of any of this possibly makes Britain great?